So you've booked your first appointment with a shamanic healer or shamanic practitioner, whatever they're calling themselves, and you want to know how best to prepare for your healing session. And I'm going to go through that with you now. My name is John Moore. I am a shamanic healer and teacher. I live in the state of Maine in the US. And welcome to my channel. I hope that you will push the subscribe button and watch some of my other videos. So there's a few things that you can do to help you prepare for a shamanic healing session. And it's going to depend on whether the healing is done in person or it's done remotely. In-person sessions became a little rarer during the pandemic, but people are starting to do them again. And remote sessions are very, very common now as people discovered they could do this over Zoom. And really, there's no difference in the effect. There's nothing that I've ever perceived or anybody I've ever worked with perceived in a difference between doing this work remotely or in person. It's really personal preference, up to you and up to the practitioner what they want to do. A few things. Many practitioners will have an intake form to fill out. This is very similar to an intake form that you would fill out for a doctor or a therapist. And although most practitioners, unless they are also a doctor and therapist, are not taking those roles, those medical roles, you should have the right to expect that practitioner is going to keep all of your information confidential. And if they don't say that up front to you, please ask them about it. Is everything I say to you, all the information I've given you confidential? Highly suggest that. It is really, really important. Fill out that information and have that agreement about confidentiality with your practitioner, because you will get the most effect, you will get the most positive benefit out of a session if you can be completely open and honest with a practitioner. And a practitioner should be able to sit and hold space for you and listen to you non-judgmentally right before they do the work. This, the secret here is that's actually a part of the healing. Holding space for somebody is healing, and practitioners should be well trained in how to do that properly, how to listen with empathy, how to build rapport. All of these things are really important. So if your practitioner sends you an intake form, fill that out, be truthful and as complete as possible. If they just send you some questions by email or something, please answer those. When you come to the session, I would be prepared to talk about the reason why you sought out shamanic healing. Be prepared to talk about what's going on in your life. Be prepared, have an intention for healing or whatever it is you're going for, and bring that into the session. That's going to make the session go much smoother. Okay, when you actually come with, and the vast majority of people do, but some people are a little reticent to talk to me. Now, I don't present myself as a psychic, right? I'm not reading your mind when we're talking. And so to help me hone in on the work that I have to do with you that day and to get to know you better, I need you to talk to me about that. I do have some clients that are very reticent, and it's fine. I'm not going to stop working with them or be mad at them or anything like that. It's just that it helps me out to help you out if you come to me and you are willing and able to talk about everything that is of concern with you that day. And the practitioner may ask you questions around things like, what is your support structure like? What's your family like? Who do you live with at home? Are you on any medications? Again, they're not usually healthcare practitioners unless they also are, but that can be important stuff. If somebody tells me they're on antipsychotic medication, I'm going to be more cautious about certain types of things to help create a safety that the client needs. Okay, so be prepared to have an open and honest conversation with your shamanic practitioner, and they should absolutely be open and supportive and non-judgmental and keep all of your information confidential. If you're doing a remote session, or if you're doing a session in person, you may be seated or lying down or whatever for kind of an extended period of time. And my sessions go from 90 minutes to 2 hours. I definitely give people opportunities if they need to get up and use the bathroom or walk around or whatever. But you want to have, if you're doing this remotely, you want to have a space prepared that is private, so you're not going to be interrupted during the session. You want to have whatever you need for comfort, whether that's pillows and blankets or a special chair or what have you. I will frequently recommend people have some water on hand, just to stay hydrated so they don't get thirsty in the middle of the session. Okay. Right before the session, if you can, use the bathroom. You can use the bathroom during a shamanic session, but it's better to not have the session interrupted. After a session, okay, so it's important to be prepared for what happens after session as well. You can be in various states, and there's no way to predict that going into the session. A good practitioner will try to help you become grounded at the end of a session. If you are ungrounded, if you're feeling, if you're feeling floaty, or if you're feeling like things aren't real, or you're feeling like you're not in your body, practitioner really needs to get you associated and get you grounded down into your body again at the end of the session. However, you might have experienced some very powerful emotions during a session, and it's important to be prepared for that. And a good practitioner will welcome any emotions that come up for you. I tell my clients, sometimes during a session, strong emotions arise, and that's great. They might be uncomfortable. They might be unpleasant. You might not want to cry in front of me. You might feel like screaming at me. I don't know. All of it's okay. Just allow it to come up, because very frequently the work that we're doing releases these pockets of stuck emotional energy into person's system. People may feel like laughing. People may feel like crying. People may feel like swearing. It's all okay. Your practitioner should sit there without judgment and allow. And that is really a big part of holding space for you. So this stuff can happen. You can also be in a very open state when you come out of a shamanic session, meaning you have opened yourself up to receive healing energy and information and that sort of thing. And you might still be kind of wide open when you come out. So I tell my clients to watch what they consume, particularly that evening. And that means food, drink, substances, and even information and media. So I don't recommend watching a horror movie or even watching the news after a shamanic session. Something light, a romantic comedy, or something along those lines. Don't pick up a newspaper. Definitely don't turn on cable news. That's bad news anyway. Avoid that anyway. But yeah, watch what you consume. And then I tell people to eat, be prepared to eat a light, healthy meal. When you're really open, if you eat like a heavy, greasy, unhealthy meal, the feeling of that can be intensified. You can sink into a lower vibratory state if you consume really, food that, the kinds of food that don't make you feel good, that may taste good and may be satisfying, but they don't make you feel good after you eat them. So no double whoppers with cheese after a shamanic session. Be prepared for what happens during the session as far as healing goes. Some people come into a shamanic healing session expecting miraculous healing. And by that, I mean like spontaneous, complete healing of something that has been bothering them for their entire life, for example. Sometimes that happens, but it's pretty rare. Most of the time, what a shamanic practitioner is doing is they're creating these spiritual conditions under which your body, mind, and spirit can heal itself. It's sort of like taking certain types of medications or certain types of vitamins or supplements, right? So The vitamin in itself might not make you healthier, or even the medication, but it might create the conditions in your body that your body can heal. I give the example, if you broke your arm, you would go to the hospital and they would set the bone and put a cast on your arm. Your arm is not healed at that point. Your arm is going to take time to heal, but setting the bone and putting the cast on ensures that the bone heals and that it heals properly. And so it's very similar to shamanic healing. You can definitely feel things during a session. You can definitely get great relief, and I have had people have problems alleviated like that. But I can't ever promise that, because I don't know that that's going to happen. And a significant amount of shamanic work takes integration time. So one really common shamanic ceremony that I do for healing with people is called soul retrieval. Generally, I have lots of videos about soul retrieval, so you can check those out if you're interested. But generally speaking, it is a treatment for trauma, for dissociation, for loss, for, depression, for all kinds of things, particularly trauma though. And I ensure, and as do people who train with the same people I train with, ensure that we make people wait 5 to 6 weeks before they do another soul retrieval. So if we do, frequently people need more than one shamanic healing session, or desire more than one shamanic healing session. And if I had a client and I did soul retrieval for them and they came back to me in 2 weeks, I would make them wait another month or so before they came back to me, because that is some really powerful stuff. And it takes a long time to integrate that into your system. So it doesn't happen instantaneously. And I had, I had a client recently that I did some soul retrieval work for. And within a couple of days, she emailed me. She's like, this hasn't really completed, and I'm not sure I'm integrating in this. And I helped her work through some of that. And then she came back and had another session with me about 2 or 3 months later, and was like, yeah, it took a really long time to integrate that stuff, but I'm feeling much better. So the more you're prepared for that, the better, the more you're going to get out of the session, because your healing is affected by everything. It's affected by your body, your mind, and your spirit. So if your mind is going, this isn't working, I didn't get this instantaneous miraculous healing, it is going to hamper your healing, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or otherwise. Okay. And we know that you can find tons and tons of research on how the mind affects healing, from mindfulness to meditation to all kinds of things can affect your body, but they definitely affect your spirit as well. So I hope this is helpful in preparing for a shamanic healing session. I think everybody on the planet can use shamanic healing. I get shamanic healing from other practitioners. The nice thing is I can sometimes have students practice on me when I'm teaching them techniques. So I don't do that just to take advantage of students. I do that so that they can learn, but there's a nice benefit. There's a nice side benefit to that, teaching them a healing technique. And, and if there's nobody else for them to practice with, sometimes I allow them to practice with me. Anyway, so I hope this is helpful. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. If you're at all curious about shamanic healing, get in touch with a shamanic practitioner and find out, ask some questions. If they aren't willing to answer your questions, and I am always an open book to my clients and my students, ask me anything. If I don't know the answer, I'll say I don't know, but I will, if I do know the answer, I will answer your questions. So, reach out, ask some questions if you need to, post some comments here, ask questions in the comments section of this video. I check those pretty regularly, and I will answer them if there are questions. Stay happy, healthy, and safe, and I will talk to you real soon.